Hello. Today on Candid, we welcome Joe Fournier, who is not from the accounting profession, but is here to talk about mental health, health in general. Joe, thank you so much for coming on Candid.
Thanks for having me today, Christy. It's really good to be here. Good to get to talk to some folks that I'm not used to talking to.
Yeah. So, because you're not in the accounting profession, the majority of my
Mhm.
subscribers don't know who you are. So, can you give a little bit of background, please?
Sure. I'm the CEO of Breathable Mental Health. We're a national online mental health platform that provides therapy to adults, adolescents, and couples as they move through their lives. So that could be professionals like you and me, or it can
Mhm.
be our children, or it can be couples, your partner, or your spouse. Um, I'm an attorney by trade, so I'm not an accountant, but went to law school and practiced as a lawyer for 10 years as a prosecutor, as a JAG in the Air Force, and then moved to various roles throughout my career, having been the chief people officer, general counsel, chief operating officer, and CEO. So I'm here to talk to you today about the fact that mental health is for everyone, not just lawyers, not
Yes.
just accountants, but it's for everyone who's trying to navigate their life every day.
That is the message I'm trying to get out as well, like really bringing attention to mental health across verticals beyond accounting. So I know you've got the military background. I knew that you're an attorney, and but you also have a long history in healthcare. And while you at the beginning of your healthcare career, I think very quickly you started to see a gap in coverage for people, specifically in mental health. Can you just expound a little bit upon that?
Yeah, it's so true. I think the health system is trying to do the right thing to support people.
Yeah.
We're not structured in a way that allows for it. So, the way insurance companies work, the way physicians prescribe, and the way we treat you when you're sick, and we think
Yeah.
often about physical health. And mental health is equally as important as physical health. There's
Yes.
actually a symbiotic relationship between the two. If you think about it, when you feel sick um, physically, often you don't feel great mentally.
Yeah.
If you feel anxious mentally, often that manifests itself in physical symptoms. I remember the first time it happened to me, I was a kid and I used to get picked on a lot as a kid. And I remember waiting to go to the bus and feeling anxious in my stomach. And it
Yeah.
went to feel that like the mental feelings created physical symptoms. And that happens to all of us,
Yeah.
especially as we're professionals, spouses, partners, children, caregivers, and
Yeah.
just members of society trying to do the right thing every day. We have
Yeah.
so many challenges, and mental health is a part of that.
So you were bullied as a child. I don't think anyone can say at some point that they weren't bullied. Do you think that's where it really hit home with you and started you down this path into adulthood? Or was that obviously
I think
something
it
was
was
a
a few
foundation that
things.
got you into what you're doing now with Breathable?
Yeah, I think for me, it's a few things. So reflecting back on my own journey through life from a child to an adult, and knowing that if I had access to care back then,
Yeah.
and many years ago, we didn't really talk about mental health. And I grew up in a world in a place where it was so far out of reach to pay for anything that we were just trying to survive. But I
You
would
didn't
have
grow up
really
rich,
been
is what you're saying.
no.
Me
I
either.
grew up in a place where I never expected to go to college or lead any organization. I thought I'd probably work at a factory or do something
Yeah.
that everyone in my family had done, and I just had a different feeling inside that I wanted to try something different, and so that's how I ended up doing uh, my career. But when it comes to mental health, um, I have two teenage boys. I'm a single dad. I've watched
Yeah.
them go through many challenges over the years, just growing. Social media, school,
Tough.
everything that's coming at us 24/7,
Yeah.
365 feels stressful for an adult. And I can't imagine what it's like for an adolescent to be trying to grow and learn this world and be a productive citizen just trying to do the things that we've already done.
Yeah.
I also am the president of a company called Evolve Telehealth, Evolve Telemedicine, and
Yeah.
we provide hormone support to women and men across the country. And our patients have asked us, so I'm feeling great physically. Do you offer mental health support? And we focus a lot on menopausal care for women and andropause for men, which is what all of us men go through as we age. And part of that means while our body is changing, our mind is changing too. And our relationships with our friends, family, and loved one often changes as our bodies change. And
Yeah.
so that's where the desire to be able to provide additional support to women and men, leaders and mothers, children and couples came about because we knew there was an opportunity to support people in a humane way
Yeah.
by providing mental health care.
I want to stay on the subject of andropause because everybody knows what menopause means. Andropause is it's been around for a long time, but it really is a new term. Can we expound a little bit more on andropause? Because I think that's really going to perk up some ears as to like how the hormones in our bodies are really adding to this added anxiety because we all have anxiety. I work with a lot of business owners that brings about its own anxiety. So I think a more of a basic understanding of what's happening inside will really help people.
I'm a living example of it. So I've been experiencing aging since I turned 40. I'm almost 50. And I noticed changes in my body. And most men who are listening, we've seen it. Go to the gym, we don't get the same results. Things stress us differently. We're at the busiest point in our life where we're still trying to raise families, be good partners and spouses to folks, maintain friendships, and of course, earn money so we can support all of those things. And that continues into our 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
I think the definition of what it means to be a leader and a male leader in the world has changed over the years,
Hmm.
and where we didn't talk about feelings often, and men were just expected uh, to perform their role, not complain much, and support others. Um, that's falling on its head, where we're expected to do everything that we've done, but be an advocate for our partners, women, and our youth, and
Yeah.
to talk about our experiences and how we're feeling, because to me, that's the center of communication, partnership, and truly living our lives with others and being present. Often, what changes throughout our life is we view things differently. But for
Yeah.
men specifically, as we age, our bodies change too, our feelings change too, and our own mortality comes into view. And so that changes the way we view our work,
Yeah.
our families, and our mental health.
Absolutely. And so you segued into leadership. I do want to talk about that, not for any specific gender, but just in general. So you talk about the ability to show your feelings in the professional workplace. And the way I see things, like for far too long, we've been conditioned to split ourselves. You've got your personal and you've got your professional, and the two do not mix. I don't abide by that. So my leadership style has always been I am completely authentic in terms of my feelings. And I believe that builds trust. If my team can see that I'm having a bad day and I'm open about that and I talk about that, it opens the door and gives them permission to talk about that. And it builds trust, it builds healthier cultures. You want to talk a little bit more about the necessity of mental health in leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more,
Yeah,
first, because I've always believed that, first, we talk about high performance all the time,
all
and
the
it
time.
can be an amorphous term, but I really believe that high performance or outer performance is always a reflection of our inner state. So who we are inside comes out one way or another in how we perform. The highest performing leaders, my mentors, others, and what I've strived to be, succeed not just because we want to work harder every single day, but because we align our mind and our emotions and our values together, and we
Yeah.
communicate those clearly.
Yeah.
You know, as a leader of a couple of organizations, um, I communicate how I feel, and I've always thought of it. I communicate honest, appropriately, respectfully, and directly. So I may be communicating how I feel, but I'm doing it in a way that allows people to feel respected,
Yeah.
because that's my role. Because when your attention is simply about winning or more and more and more, it increases anxiety and performance actually declines.
Yeah.
So when it's about
Yes.
doing the work the right way for the benefit of clients or customers or patients, that's when we see the very best come from people. And that starts with leadership in the organization. And
Yes.
together we all build a thriving culture.
Agree 100%. I also truly believe, because I am one of these people and I did this for years, high performers are also really good at masking their own struggles, right? So when you look at a high performer, and I think that's one of the big ruses that are out there. People go on LinkedIn, they go on social, and they say, oh, she's a high performer. Look how happy she is. Look what she's accomplished. Well, there's still what's going on in the inside. And a lot of high performers have gotten really good at masking their mental health struggles. And that is going to implode on them at some point. I'm sure you've seen it. I mean, do you have any sage advice for those people who have mastered hiding their struggles?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I've experienced this personally in my life and career, that when you're crying on the inside, you can only do it for so long. And I just
Yeah.
want people to know that there is support and there is help out there to manage those emotions and feelings so that high performance can be redefined for you. High
Yeah.
performance can be happiness with performance. High performance can be being true to your values, to giving time to your family, to your body, and to your mind.
Hmm.
High performance is often defined by a culture where we celebrate flashes in the pan or big newsworthy events where we see something that doesn't happen and 99% of us happen, but we're
Yeah.
celebrating that one event. To me, high performance is sustained excellence over time. And that means being true to you and to others around you,
Hmm.
and that's redefining what performance means. It starts with taking care of yourself so you're able to take care of others.
Yeah. And, it doesn't happen overnight either. So, speaking for myself, I established patterns early in my childhood. And one of those patterns was that I had to worry about everything. So these patterns are set very early on. And I've worked my entire life to move past those patterns. But can you give some more sage advice on, what people need to do to get to a place where they are that positive type of high
Mhm.
performer? Because it is not easy. And I speak from experience.
Yeah, if you're not there today,
Yeah.
you have to take a first step. And a first step could be anything. It could be recognizing how you feel and what you want to change. It can be listening to this podcast and thinking or doing some self reflection on it. It could
Yeah.
be getting educated, or it could be calm and breathable and saying, I'm ready to get started. All those are one step, because I think what many of us believe is that we're in this alone.
Yes.
And late at
Yes.
night, when you're alone thinking, you feel so alone sometimes. And as a senior leader or somebody who runs an accounting firm or a law firm, you truly feel like you're the one who's charged with all of the responsibility, and it is yours alone to bear. And
Hmm.
days go by where you don't know how you're going to do it. That is so untrue. We are all in this together. And yes, we're accountable as leaders, but there are a lot of resources for us to improve our emotional and our physical well being. And
Yeah.
that is one of the reasons for Breathable, because I know I've been there, that we all need that support. That is the beginning of a pattern, is taking that first step forward.
Yeah.
And after that first step, we take another until it becomes a habit.
Yeah. You hit gold with the initial statement of feeling alone. So that was my biggest barrier. And I've seen it across leaders that we do feel like we're on an island. And when you feel like you're on an island and you're responsible for everything, you don't take care of yourself and you do hide your emotions. If I have to take care of everything, I can't fall apart. So that feeling of isolation, I think is one of the first things people need to recognize. And the bigger recognition is that you're really not alone. You can ask for help. You can move forward, like you said, in baby steps. But being on an island is the worst feeling in the world.
Working in healthcare for years, I think we need humanity to come back to healthcare. It's become so transactional. It's about
Yeah.
insurance claims and numbers and coverages. Um, so when we created Breathable, we wanted to put humanity back into mental health and create a company that made things as simple as possible to take a first step. There's no fine print, no asterisks. The price is the price based on the market where you are. And we pay our therapists, who are all vetted. I personally interview every one of them,
Wow.
um, to make sure that they reflect the values of our organization. So our prices reflect fairness and providing humane support to our clients.
Yeah.
That is so important to me because healthcare has become something other than that, in my view.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's great. Like the thought of, I just like sort of got a jolt of excitement. The thought of having my own personal coach or therapist right there to contact when I need it. Sometimes all it takes is listening to an unbiased third party human that gets what you're going through. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's just getting it out and knowing that someone's heard you that can help you feel A, not alone, and B, like you're not going crazy. Because a lot of us just stew in it and say, we're just going to fight our way through today. I'll get some sleep and tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow you wake up with that same sense of dread because you didn't deal with what you should have
Mhm.
dealt with the day before.
And to give you those tools to cope and to
Hmm.
change if that's what you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a shoulder, and other times you want to take an action. When you do that, it changes everything. Changes the way you run your business, your own personal productivity, the way people feel around you. And for those who don't think it results in revenue to your business, I'm telling you it does. When you're a leader and you're performing both mentally and physically at your highest level, and those around you see that, they want to be like
Yes.
that. You are now
Yes.
leading by example, and
Yes.
everyone benefits. The ship truly rises together.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. If you do not show up for yourself, you can't show up for others. When you do show up for yourself, you do build those teams that want you to be their leader. They want to give all they can to the good of the business. And that, again, right, is just going to raise the boat as a collective. And
Mhm.
I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's what high performers don't understand. They think as long as they're moving forward and they're making a bottom line number, it's okay. And that can block their view of their team suffering. And if the team suffers, again, as a collective, you can't move the business forward or your life forward or your family forward or the people that you love forward because you're just not being true to yourself in terms of your mental well being.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be clear. This is not something that just happens overnight. Like we said,
No.
mental
Mm-mm.
toughness. We talk about toughness as I'm tough in business, or if you're an athlete, you're
Yeah.
physically strong. But the most successful ones are the ones who are those things and mentally tough. We talk about
Correct.
things like resilience all the time, but that doesn't come just because you were born like that. It comes
Right.
through training and coaching and psychological support. And that is where structured mental health support,
Yeah.
like what we offer at Breathable, is important because we're helping you to build emotional acuity or awareness, strengthen your own mental resilience, create spaces in your day and within you for reflection, and supporting you on your journey in real life.
Hmm.
The worst thing I ever heard was when somebody said to me one time, "It's just business." And I thought, Christy,
Yeah.
like, everything's personal because we're people. There
Yeah.
is no difference
Yeah.
between business and personal. It's so interwoven into life and work today
Hmm.
that business is personal and personal is business, and we have to take care of ourselves to do well in both.
Yeah. Yeah. You keep mentioning the word humanity. You brought humanity back to health, to healthcare. We are all connected, and the one thing that connects us is our craving for human connection. We need that. It's what helps us not feel so alone. It's what gives us perspective. It's what helps us move forward, like you said. And something like breathable, again, yes, it doesn't happen overnight. I've worked my entire life. I've built a mental health care program over my entire life. It's about building that foundation of good mental health and
Mhm.
then building out my tool belt. So when I have a bad day, I have something to reach into to help
Sure.
me get through that moment. And it sounds like that's exactly the the foundation of breathable.
It is. And as a leader, we often put ourselves last because we think that's what we should do. We've been taught to do
Yeah.
that, to take care of others.
Yeah.
That comes down to a personal conversation. You have to take care of yourself.
Yes.
It helps you to take care of others. And it's not just about going for a run and feeling better. And
Yeah.
a lot of us do that through exercise. It's one piece. We have to take care of our mind the same way we take care of our body. It
Yep.
really helps us to take care of others. It's so
Yep.
critical as leaders for us to remember that.
Absolutely, 100%. As we, this has been great. As we close out this episode, Joe, I always like to close out with my guests because you're the expert. Anything that I haven't covered, any other sage advice or last thoughts that you want to offer listeners?
Just want to say if you're listening to this thinking, this doesn't apply to me, or this feels maybe a little touchy feely, we're going mental health,
Yeah.
and we usually talk about business. This is business because life is business. And if you're thinking that it doesn't apply to you, I encourage you to take that one first step forward. You have nothing to lose. Check us out on www.livebreathable.com. If you sign up for a visit, you mention this podcast, we'll give you $50 off your first visit. I really want to see some of our high performing professionals come to us from the accounting field and whoever else is listening, because I know that we can support you on your journey to a better life, a happier, healthier, more productive one every day. That's really all I have to say. It's been a pleasure to be with you. I'm really happy that I got to do this and to get to talk to your audience because I don't usually have this opportunity.
That was so well said. Like, I have nothing to add. So I am going to say, Joe, thank you for being here. Check out Breathable. I will put that URL in the show notes, Joe, so people can check it out because I think a lot of people are going to want to take that first baby step. And listeners, thank you. Please come back next time when I continue to get candid.
Can she say that?